Day on Locked On Rockies. The Rockies played 27 innings of baseball over the last 3 days. They scored in 2 of them. Is that bad? That's pretty bad.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 9th day of May in the year 2022. I am your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Proud to be your first listen. You can follow us at LO Rockies on Twitter. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll know when we're recording the show live, so you can hop in the live chat and ask your questions to me directly. My name, like I said, is Paul Holden. I'm at Paul Holden 33, and today's episode of Locked On Rockies is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Today on Locked On Rockies, we got to talk about the offense being absolutely and utterly disappointing and falling flat on their face in the series in Arizona. Yes, Arizona has good starting pitching, but let's be honest. This is the worrisome trend that we were worried could flare up, and it was on absolute full display. The warning signs, the worries, the issues with the Colorado Rockies are mounting right now as the Rockies are in the midst of what's going to be a very difficult rest of the road trip. This is going to be something that the Rockies are going to, it's not getting any easier for the Rockies going forward right now. The Rockies are going to probably be in the toughest stretch of the season that they have seen, and it started in Arizona. And what did the Rockies do in 27 innings of baseball? Like I said at the top of the show, the Rockies scored in 2 of them. 2 innings. It took until the top of the 9th, multiple outs. Folks, I don't have the answer. I don't have a solution for people to hit you with the Coors narrative anymore, because this team, it happened last year, it's happened multiple years. Whatever happens, when this team leaves Coors Field, they forget how to hit. They cannot drive in runs. The Rockies had plenty of opportunities to get in runs this weekend. The Rockies were horrendous with runners in scoring position. Horrendous. It's just, I just can't even imagine. It's unbelievable how bad this team is. Why when they're away from a home, they can't seem to find the gaps, and they seem to just hit into more double plays. I mean, I think the big thing too, we're seeing it now. We're seeing the Rockies the Rockies are struggling without Chris Bryant in the lineup. The Rockies clearly need something to shake up this lineup on the road to help give them a chance, because, man, how many wasted starts, for good quality starts, not even just by the metric from starting pitching, are the Rockies going to waste on the road? The Diamondbacks didn't score a ton of runs this series. The Rockies pitchers didn't let up a bunch. Even Germán Marquez yesterday, as bad as he was, he still got 7 strikeouts and he still got some pickoff plays. He still was able to limit a lot of the damage. The Rockies should be able to score 4 runs. Yes, I wasn't giving enough credit to the Arizona rotation. The Arizona rotation has been great this year, and great against the Rockies. But the bullpen clearly shows the issues, and the Rockies had opportunities. The Rockies also had opportunities against Gallen, against all these pitchers early. But the lack of the big hit is that plagues the Rockies, that has plagued the Rockies for so long, is incredibly frustrating. And it's incredibly frustrating, I feel like, for the pitching staff. And I'm projecting onto them. Of course, they're a team. They know that they got each other's backs and whatnot. But we've seen that this team has the ability to put the ball in play, connect, and score. They did it in the top of the ninth. The disconnect, the issues with getting the ball rolling, the issues with actually driving runners in, why it escapes the Rockies is beyond me. Especially when you start off CJ Cron, first inning, bam, RBI, sets the tone, sets the momentum, and then just crickets. Nothing. 1, 2, 3, 10 pitch innings. Something's got to change. The Rockies have to get better on the road. Especially in the division. These long road trips are going to happen. I'm not feeling very confident about the Colorado Rockies in San Francisco these next 3 games. I'm really not. I wish I could sit here and say that I was, but when you go to Arizona, a place that you can swing it, and a place that's not as hitter unfriendly as San Francisco, and you score in 2 out of 27 innings, going up against the San Francisco team that is better than Arizona, has better arms in some aspects than Arizona, how are you supposed to feel? It's you just kind of have to sit there and go, whew. But it's also an opportunity for the Rockies to show themselves, to prove themselves, to demonstrate to the rest of the league and to the NL West that they're not going to be pushed around. Because if you're going to walk into Arizona and score twice in 27 innings, you're going to be at the bottom of the division at the end of the year. Plain and simple. If you can't beat Arizona at home, if you can't beat Arizona, a team that struggles at home, and you're going to be at the bottom of the division. The Padres are good. The Giants are good. The Dodgers are good. And apparently, so are the Diamondbacks. I've been sleeping on the Diamondbacks. I still think the Rockies are better than the Diamondbacks. The Rockies still have tons of opportunities in those games. But something's got to give. So the Rockies need to change their approach on offense on the road. I don't know how. I'm not a coach, but you simply can't just keep running in the mud. You simply can't just be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. There has to be a way to change this. It's either that or the Rockies are just too overpowered that by pitching then. Every road game can't feel like the same. Every road series can't feel like the same. And the Rockies have gotten crushed on the road. The Rockies are back to being really bad on the road. Again, the Rockies have now lost 6 out of their last 7 road games. That's not good. That's horrible. If the Rockies would just have won 3 of those games, the Rockies could be just under 20 wins right now. The Rockies have the same record as the Giants, but the Giants feel like they're in a better position. Losing 6 of 7 road games and scoring 2 in 2 innings out of 27 innings in a series is bad. Is very bad. And that's how you ruin your early momentum. It's how the Rockies plummet back to earth, and it's how the Rockies get back to irrelevance in the middle of the season. You need to turn it around now. You need to split series now. You need to get better on the road now, because you're going down a bad path, and it's not getting any easier. The Rockies will get improvement when Chris Bryant comes back, but now we don't know when Chris Bryant comes back. No big deal has turned into a big freaking deal, because the Rockies need that bat, and the Rockies need production from their offense on the road. Enough. Back up your pitchers. Change the narrative and go out and win division games on the road, or else enjoy the bottom of the West. The NL West is too good to lose 6 of your 7 last road games and score in 2 innings in a 3-game set on the road. It is inexcusable. It cannot happen. There will be no silver lining and sign of success if that's how the Rockies continue on the road this season. It's frustrating because we've seen this team produce more. We've seen this team win more on the road than last year's team, yet it still feels the same. It still feels like 2 runs on the Rockies in a road game is too much. Eric Harper in the live chat says, Rockies have that pesky yet middling feeling, signs of a bad squad. There are signs that this is a bad, the reality checks are here. The plummet back to earth is here. The rose-colored glasses of the beginning of the season are off. You will not be a competitive baseball team if you continue at this rate on the road. Surprise some people, surprise the audience, surprise the fans, and go out and thump San Francisco. But I don't have a lot of confidence the Rockies are going to do that. I really don't. Let's talk a little bit more about, let's maybe try to brighten the mood a little bit here. But before we do that, well, I guess this might brighten the mood because, sometimes landing a good bet is all you need to kind of make the little, the bad Rockies games feel a little bit better. Maybe you'll hit a parlay or a prop, and you can find all of them at BetOnline because our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions at BetOnline. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Remember, gamble responsibly. Have a plan, a good betting plan, but no better place to stay informed on what's going on in the world of betting than BetOnline. Eric Harper in the live chat says, "Nice spicy pod today." Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what else can I be? I will wave the Rockies flag and cheer the Rockies until my dying breath. But I'm not going to sit here and continue and just dwell on the stuff that's good. The hot start feels so long ago to me. The Rockies playing good, consistent baseballs feels so long ago to me. Because even though the Rockies dominated the Reds and they won the series against the Nationals, I still feel like they're not even close to playing their best ball. I feel the infield defense and the miscommunications and sloppy defense and errors, that the amount of errors by the Rockies infield this season is something that needs to be fixed on top of this lack of offense. I think the Rockies wanted to change up things. They made a lot of changes. They brought in new faces. They're getting production. I don't understand what is getting in the way. Is it simply the Rockies are being outmatched? Are just lineups better? Are the Phillies and the Diamondbacks better teams than the Rockies? When I sit down and think about it, no, I don't honestly believe that. Even Philly. I definitely don't think that about Arizona, but Arizona just clowned the Rockies. How are you going to respond when the team that's supposed to be the bottom dweller of the division just shut you out for most of the out of every inning, kept you scoreless in every inning except for 2 of them? I know I bring that up a lot, folks, but that's a damning statistic. If you just break down the numbers, if you look at the amount of runs the Rockies have scored on the road, it's abysmal. It's something you have to worry about, and it's something that's simply not sustainable. It's something you have to change. You have to put different people in the lineup, or I guess you just have to ride the wave until you wait for your superstar. And then now Chris Bryant, not only that, with this healing process, he might begin a rehab assignment. So if the Rockies can't survive for the next 2 weeks, I'm saying Chris Bryant isn't playing for the Rockies for another 2 weeks. And you look at the Rockies schedule coming up here, 3-game set against the Giants on the road, then a nice homestand, but they still have to play the Royals, who can swing it. The Giants and the Mets all roll into town before getting a reprieve of the Pirates and the Nationals. And then you'd think, oh, the Marlins, and I set with the Marlins. However, the Rockies struggle against that. May can be a brutal month for the Rockies. They are lucky they get the break in this home stretch in the middle, and the best players and the best teams are rolling through Coors Field more than the Rockies are on the road. Because hopefully they're going to be able to do that. But boy, if the Rockies don't turn it around on this road trip and salvage some of this in the Giants, they are in a situation where that Royals series, you drop 3 games here as the Rockies, say you get swept, you're 16-15. You're right back to that same spot after the last road trip, where you're right back to that 500 mark. And Arizona's already is past 500. They beefed it up with beating the Rockies. These are key, crucial division games. Every single one of them matters, especially for the Rockies. Eric in the live chat says, we'll be okay. It'll look up. It'll, we'll have, the Rockies can change, can have things to be excited about to as well. But they're going to need more. They're going to need more from German Marquez. They're going to need more from, their batting lineup. They're going to need more from the 1 through 9. And they're going to need the big hit, because you just simply can't allow the Rockies to not back up their pitchers. 2 good starts wasted in Arizona. I mean, it was simply Chad Kuhl going 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. I mean, that's giving you an opportunity. But the Rockies held scoreless after the first inning, after the momentum was there, after Chad Kuhl was doing that. They weren't able to bounce back. They also waste another start. Basically, they are able to win at the end with Freeland's start, but it took until the top of the last possible second. Wasting these good, solid starts from your pitchers is bad news for the Rockies, because we've seen if the Rockies don't get those good starts, then they get down by those runs, then it feels like that mountain's too high to climb. Chad Kuhl and Kyle Freeland gave the Rockies ample opportunities to win both of those games. Now, German Marquez didn't necessarily do the same thing, but this Rockies offense should be able to score 3 runs. German Marquez was off, and he erred, and he had and they were barreling him up, yet he still had 7 strikeouts yesterday. I want this Rockies offense to be able to climb out of a 4-run hole on the road. It shouldn't be, or at least make it at least make an attempt at it, at least score something, at least impact that. When your pitchers are giving you opportunities to win, especially on the road, you got to take advantage of that. We talked about that at the beginning of we talked about it in the preview for this series. You got to back your starters up, especially when they're going deep in games, and especially when they're giving you good performances and keeping their offense completely unbalanced. Ugh. It is just that was a frustrating series there. Nick Tolan, welcome to the live chat. Thank you so much. And remember, folks, you can join Nick and Eric and everyone else in the live chat here by subscribing to Locked On Rockies on YouTube. We record the pod live, and you can drop your Rockies questions live. So, folks, if you do have some Rockies questions for me, drop them in there. But like I said, I did like silver linings. It was a good 2 starts for Kyle Freeland and Chad Kuhl. You can't be any less impressed with. Chad Kuhl has been so good for the Colorado Rockies. It's been so impressive, and really has been something that if the rotation was working as we were hoping. Boy, those starters that would be a nice solid rotation. Again, not one that's going to knock the socks out of people, but again, it's been a rotation for the most part, and that will keep you in ball games, especially if it's sustainable, especially if we can see starts like we saw from Freeland and Kuhl again and again. Like we've kind of seen a couple of these Freeland starts. We've seen, and this was probably we haven't seen this sharp of a Kyle Freeland start in a bit. Arguably had some of his best stuff of the season in his start there against Arizona this weekend. He looked really good, had good pace, good control of the game, I thought too, good presence on the mound. Really, really nice performance from Kyle Freeland there, which was super encouraging. And I don't have the numbers on me, but I did see a stat, and maybe I can look it up here before we go. But man, since Freeland signed that deal, he has really pitched well. Kyle Freeland, 6 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. You'll take that line all day. Maybe 2 strikeouts or two walks kind of at the maximum there, but still, that's a great Kyle Freeland line, and it was the Rockies again in that game all the time. They were also to see, they were in those games, as frustrating, as much venting as I did, as much kind of doom and gloom as we did. It is baseball. If the Rockies can find a hole, if they can just take one little better of a swing, and honestly, just get a little bit more pop in some of those balls. I think the Rockies, this was the first series, I think, for the Rockies that I really started thinking about the baseballs themselves, because the Rockies did thump a couple of balls that I was kind of surprised in a place like Arizona, they died the way they did. So again, if the Rockies didn't have as long of a trend of worrisome behavior on the road, I wouldn't have been as fired up, doom and gloom at the beginning as I was. But I'm not going to neglect every good, any silver lining that the Rockies have. And the fact that coming back in the 9th is great. That's fight. That's to steal that win is big, because you feel a little bit better that you got at least one of the wins on the road, and instead of a sweep, a back-to-back road series sweeps would have felt worse, a lot worse. Nick says, rough weekend, but here are my ultimate thoughts on the team. We are not playing out of our minds, and that's the best thing to see. We have so much to improve on. Also, in some of these games this weekend against AZ, I could see us missing KB. Just having a guy take long professional at-bats a few times a game can do so much. Saw a lot of first pitch outs lately. The Rockies are desperately missing Chris Bryant. That's we haven't talked about it enough, and I highlighted it there, but Chris Bryant not being in the lineup is a massive impact. The Rockies started off hot, had a lot of runners in scoring position, and were doing a lot of scoring when Chris Bryant was in the lineup. Chris Bryant wasn't hitting home runs, but he was hitting the ball. The Rockies having Chris Bryant in some of those situations, I think, do get that big hit. I think that's a great point, Nick. And again, it's just we're still facing X amount of time without Chris Bryant, so we can't neglect that stuff. But the Rockies getting Chris Bryant back will be massive for the club. And what is massive for your snacking game are Built Bars. Summer is coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations. Throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks, and make sure that everyone has a bar so you're fueled for summer adventures, especially Colorado, folks. I mean, what's better than Colorado in the summertime? I know you're going to be biking, hiking, camping, going out adventuring, baseball tournaments, swim team, all that stuff. Make sure that you, the kids, the family, your friends, everyone is staying fed and healthy with Built Bars. No more sacrificing delicious foods for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you got to do is go to Built.com, and when you go to Built.com, you're going to see all the crazy varieties of bars, flavors. They got the marshmallow puffs. They got the protein-infused marshmallow puffs that are covered in 100% real chocolate, as all Built Bars are. And you can see the macro charts too. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. You compare that to a candy bar, which usually has 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Go to Built.com, get all your favorites, banana cream pie, the raspberry, double chocolate, and so many more. They're all delicious. New flavors coming out all the time, and you can check them out at Built.com. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Rockies head to San Francisco tonight. On the bump for the Rockies here, Austin Gomber, who has been good for the Rockies. Let's hope that he can continue to be good outside of Coors Field. The Rockies are going up in Carlos Rodon, 3-1, 1.55 ERA with 41 strikeouts on the year. The Giants can pitch. The Rockies simply are going to be challenged these next 3 games. The Rockies are going to have to bring their A game to go up and take good at-bats, to score runs and take advantage of every opportunity that the Giants give you. I mean, this is going to be the same thing for every single time the Rockies are in San Francisco this year. It is somewhere that I think is the toughest place for the Rockies to play on the road, more so than Dodger Stadium. It's going to need to be a complete team effort. Gomber is going to need to limit the damage. The offense is going to need to score and drive in runners in scoring position, and you're gonna have to play good, clean, fundamental defense. You're gonna have to play error-free baseball. You're gonna have to take advantage of every opportunity that you are given, because these Giants are good and they're great at home. They've always played the Rockies well. They've been a team that has been a tremendous thorn in the Rockies' side, and San Francisco is an absolutely difficult place to play. Nick in the live chat says, Gomber's curveballs are always the best to watch. Let's hope he has it going tonight. Absolutely. I would say Austin Gomber has some of the most fun to watch breaking pitches in all of baseball. I think, there's pitchers with a lot of movement, but man, in terms of just being fascinated and being really like kind of blown away at the art of pitching, curveballs are the ones that really do it for me. For a pitch to be thrown with the giant loop that the Gomber curve has, to drop and be perfect, to throw that with such precision, such the speed of it, whether it be the actual velocity or lack thereof velocity, and the way it can just dip and really bend some knees for people. Man, I think curveballs, especially thrown by Austin Gomber, man, those are just so fun to watch. I love it. You love a good slider. You love something when you can watch the fastball that you just see it start somewhere and die off, and other pitches that don't have movement. But man, it's just such a fascinating pitch to throw, because it's just such a different thing that you have to prepare for as a hitter. Just a big looping type curve that can come in there and just absolutely decimate every form of your timing there. So all in all, disappointing weekend for the Colorado Rockies. They could have won 2 out of 3 of those games for sure. They weren't necessarily completely out of them. They left a lot of runners in scoring position. I don't have the numbers up right in front of me, but I mean, I don't need to bring them up to know that they were bad, because at the end of the day, like we've talked about a bunch on today's podcast, the Rockies scored in 2 innings out of 27 of them. So they need to snap these scoreless inning streaks. They need to score in multiple innings in games too. Put together a couple of things, just some good at bats. Drive in a run in the second. We get a couple in the fourth, maybe a one spot in the sixth. The Rockies haven't done a ton of that since the beginning of the season, where they've gone and really dominated. So, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you all so much for joining in, especially to Nick and Eric in the live chat for talking during the show. You can talk during the show as well and ask for our, your questions, and talk about what we're talking about on the pod when you subscribe to Locked On Rockies on YouTube. And we're always going to chat with the live audience, because I want to talk with Rocky fans. You guys listen to me and support us here on Locked On Rockies, so I want to hear what's on the fans' minds as well. Now that you've made Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day, head on up to, we got a great podcast network for you folks, and a couple of podcasts on those for you to check out are Locked On Now and the Locked On MLB podcast. Those are your place to stay up to date with all things going on in the world of sports, and especially Major League Baseball. Few podcasters in the baseball podcasting business than our guy Sully there on Locked On MLB. And if you want to stay up to date in arguably one of the most exciting times in Colorado sports history, the Avalanche dominating the Predators so far, Russell Wilson leading the Broncos to what should be an exciting season, and the Nuggets with the back-to-back MVP Nikola Jokic. You can stay up to date with those Colorado podcasts with the Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, and Locked On Nuggets podcast, as well as us here at Locked On Rockies. Rockies, stay up to date with all those. Keep up with those other teams. Well, how about that? But folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies